Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. You gonna itch your nose just like me?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It just started itching. Okay.
Now I can't stop.
I started a trend.
No, I started it because then you followed me.
But then you started it again.
Okay. Anyways, today we're gonna be doing a story time video about what?
No. Go ahead.
Dude, I'll do this by myself.
No, we're good. We're good. Let's go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, today we're going to be doing a story time video about how we chose the names for our kids. And that's kind of like, we kind of don't really have a big meaning on each of them, but they have a meaning to us. So I figured we'd just share. And I get questions a lot about how'd you come up with this name or the middle name or whatever. So that's what we're going to share. So if you guys are new to our channel, I'm Crystal.
I'm Corey.
And we have been married for
5 years.
Almost 5 years.
Well, 5 years coming up June 26th.
Yep, and been together for almost 7 years. And we have 2-year-old twin boys. And we have baby number 3, who is also a boy, on the way. He'll be due in August. So, first name was, our oldest is Cooper.
Yeah. For the most part, I think we just generally like the name Cooper. It's the middle names, I think, with both the kids where we kind of like went more into a meaningful name.
Right.
But it was like a trial and error with names. I mean, it was difficult for me to suggest names because Crystal works at a daycare. And apparently any kid that she's had before, if they were bad, that automatically rules that name out.
Yes.
And so I can't even remember all the names I suggested, but I suggested a lot of names, and she kept on shooting down, no, I had a kid like with that name, he was bad, or...
Teacher, if you're watching and you're a teacher, you understand the struggle when it comes to naming a child when you're a teacher. Which is
I can is a little fair because there's people that I knew back when growing up that I didn't like, and so I just don't like that name for...
Yeah, so I would suggest names, especially because we knew that probably our first child would be a boy, and so that's why we chose Cooper's name, because we liked the name, and we're like, okay, our first boy, his name is going to be Cooper. Like, that was just what we always kind of, when we started talking about having kids, that was kind of what we just came up with. And so as I'm suggesting names, he's like, no, that kid was a bully. No, that kid was mean to me. Or, no, I had, we knew this kid, and I was just like,
He's
so
weird.
Yeah, so it was just like we kind of both had reasons why we didn't like names. So Cooper was, when we found out that we were pregnant, it was like, okay, if it's a boy, it's Cooper. We had no girl names picked out whatsoever because we had a feeling that it was going to be a boy.
Well, I think we flirted around with some like girl names.
Yeah.
One girl name that Crystal kept on throwing around was Harper.
No, I liked Charlotte. Charlotte was the one.
Too.
Yes, but I liked Harper too.
Charlotte just sounds like an old lady's name.
Yeah, exactly. But it was his great...
No offense if your name's Charlotte. Just saying.
But it was
It's just the way that I know Charlotte. Doesn't mean that that's the way that other people know Charlotte. So.
But it was his like great grandmother's name, or like his grandmother's name or something, and so it was like, I was like, that's a cute name and whatever, so we just like scratched that, but
yeah,
because you didn't like it, so we just didn't even care for it. But then when we found out we were having twins, it was like, oh crap.
And I was trying to figure out two names,
like
we were having problems just figuring out one name.
And so it's like, okay, we liked Cooper and we knew we were going to stick with Cooper, and Cooper's middle name is David, which is his middle name and my dad's name. So it was like...
And then also my grandpa's.
Yeah.
My grandpa's name.
So it kind of just fit really well together. So we already knew, like, Cooper David, that was going to be his name, done, over with. But then when we found out we were having twins and we had to figure out a whole new set of names... Really?
Sorry,
Am I keeping you up?
Yeah, I'm going to go now.
Shut up. But we had to figure out a whole new, like, another boy name and another girl name. It's like, we laid in bed for so long trying to figure out a name, and we're just like, we have no idea.
How about this thing? No, he was a bad kid.
Yeah. So it was like frustrating. Well, then when we had our gender ultrasound, when we found out that they were both boys, we're like, okay, well, that makes it easier. We don't have to worry about a girl name. So we had Cooper David, and then we're laying in bed one day, and we're just kind of trying to figure out another boy name, and the name Sawyer came up. And if you are a One Tree Hill fan, you will know Peyton's last name is Sawyer, and actually she names her daughter Sawyer too as well. And so it kind of just was like, oh yeah, I like that name. We like that name for a boy, and we're like, we like it for a girl too, but we really liked it for a boy. And then we're like, okay, we like Sawyer, so what are we gonna do for the middle name? And it kind of just, we just laid there and we're like, I have no idea. And then the one night he was like, well, you know what, let's do Brooks. And I was like, you know, that's actually a really good idea, because there's actually several meanings to this middle name. The first one is I had a miscarriage very early on, and it was a girl, and her name was going to be Brooklyn. And so that was the masculine side of, you know, that name. And then another reason was one of my favorite country singers is Garth Brooks. So that was another reason. And then the last one is, again, somebody pointed this out to me and I totally like blanked on it. What is Peyton's best friend's name in One Tree Hill? It's Brooke.
Oh, that's funny.
And Sawyer's middle name in One Tree Hill is Brooke. So it's like the masculine, you know, meaning by Brooklyn or Brooke or whatever.
Several meanings.
So
I feel bad. Cooper didn't get too much.
But he got my dad's name, he got your grandpa's name,
true.
And he's got your middle
That's
name.
true.
So it's like he's got the meaning behind
Besides,
that.
Cooper's an awesome name.
Yeah, and we just always loved Cooper. So Cooper David and Sawyer Brooks were the two names that we thought really sounded good together. I get compliments all the time on how they love their names, you know, how people like their names. And then when we got pregnant with this baby,
yeah,
actually even before.
Before we even knew what the baby was going to be, we already had names. Before we even conceived.
It was kind of like a, hey, if this happens,
here's this name.
Here's this name. Yeah, here's this name and here's this name. And so if it was a girl, it was going to be, her name was going to be Skylar. We loved that name, and we liked the way that it fit with Cooper and Sawyer. And so her name was going to be Skylar Victoria, which Victoria would have been remembrance for his aunt that passed away from breast cancer. So it was kind of just like it fit together. But then we found out that it's a boy, and Skylar was no longer on the table. So what did we choose for this baby's name? Oliver. And it kind of just, there's really no real meaning
behind the first name either.
Yeah,
we really like the name Oliver. And then for me personally, I don't know if anyone's watched The Arrow, but his name is Oliver.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I just kind of enjoy like that name. Now, that's not the reason why we picked the name, is to name him after a character on a show. No, we just like the name. It just so happens that it kind of coincides with a show that I liked.
Right. And plus we wanted a name that fit well with Cooper and Sawyer.
With the ER.
We're just those people. I don't know. I'm one that I don't want them all to have, which at first I did, want them all to have the first letter be all the same, but then we couldn't find a name that was...
We both agreed on that we liked.
That we liked for Sawyer, so that's why
that
Sawyer
wasn't already taken up by someone.
Yeah.
Or,
that's true.
Or taken by, you know, not liking someone.
Yeah. So we wanted it to fit with the names we already had for, you know, Cooper and Sawyer. And then so we picked Oliver. Ollie is his nickname. And then his middle name is actually Lee, and that's after...
So that's after my mom. Her middle name is Lee, and that's my little brother's middle name is actually Lee as well.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember exactly where my mom got it, or like, because I know there's someone else in the family that also had that.
Right.
And so it's just kind of like one of those names that we kind of hand off down to the... like a generation or two, or each generation actually.
Yeah.
With the middle name Lee. And so I don't know exactly, you know, who had it before my mom. I just know that was just kind of like a name that kind of goes down the line.
And we just really liked how it sounded together, and so we have Cooper David, Sawyer Brooks, and Oliver Lee, and that's kind of how we came up with their names. And they have the most funny nicknames.
All right.
Cooper's was
Cooper the Pooper, I
Cooper
think.
the Pooper from the time he was in the NICU, which is actually super funny. But then my sister calls him Coop Dog,
Coop
and
Dog.
then he's just Coop most of the time. And then Sawyer's, I hated this nickname at first, and it grew on me so... It's grown on me, and I actually love it now. People laugh when I say it, but he's the one who suggested it. It's
Soy sauce.
soy sauce. So Sawyer is soy sauce.
It's a funny thing because we were in the NICU, and I'm like, and I called him that once. I said soy sauce, and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be your nickname, soy sauce. She hated
I was
it.
like,
no, it's not. No.
I was
No.
so against it. I was like, no, we are not having that his nickname. And then
coming out, and that's his nickname.
Yep, soy sauce.
We just call him soy sauce.
And then Oliver's is obviously
Ollie.
And it's funny because and then it's like we had a group text with his family about the name and like why we chose it and stuff like that. And then it was like, I'm a Disney fan. We're a Disney family. And so it was like Prince Ali. And so it was just, yeah, so it was just kind of like, oh, hey, a subtle
The only
hint.
person that got that hint though was Connor.
Yeah, but
Connor
it was,
got that hint.
but it's funny. That's got a subtle Disney touch to it. So that is where all of our kids' names came from and why we chose them and why they have a special meaning. And yeah,
I mean,
pretty much it.
it wasn't a super long explanation, but
I get questions a lot about it, especially with Sawyer's. It's like, because it's such a unique name that I always get questions about why Sawyer or why Brooks or, you know, whatever. So it was nice to make this video to kind of clear the air and answer any of those questions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like.
make sure and honestly make some comments as well. You know, maybe comment like
If you have kids, what their
Yeah.
names are and why you chose their names.
Yeah. Or, you know, if you understand our dilemma with her having problems with names because
Yep.
she's worked as a teacher.
Yep.
If you like this video, go ahead and hit the bell. Go ahead and
So you're
subscribe
notified
to anything that we put up. Especially since we're kind of doing like a hers and mine,
type of videos.
hers and his.
Yeah.
I guess we can call it.
Yeah.
Hers and his kind of videos. Mine come out every Tuesday, and it's kind of like my perspective on things. Hers come out every Thursday, and it's her perspective of things. And so, you know, I just think it's one, we just want to get more content for you guys to be able to see, and then two, it's kind of cool to get like two different views of it. Now,
especially with parenthood, I think it's really cool to kind of have like my side of like how I do things and like his side of how he does things with the boys, especially because like now that I'm going back to work to keep him, or like he'll keep the boys one day a week, so what that day a week he could vlog a little bit, just kind of like how he does things and how the boys kind of act for him versus you guys always seeing me interacting with the kids all the time. So I think that'd be good. But
yeah, and then I was gonna say something I can't even remember.
it's just
My train of thought just got derailed. It went flying off the train tracks
tree tracks.
down the canyon. Took this and moved it into a different direction.
But anyways, so I guess we will just see you in our next video.
On Tuesday.
Bye guys.
See ya.